Ladies and gentlemen, dear all, I would like to welcome you to my presentation on school as hybrid system. This project was funded by the Federal Institute for Research on Building, Urban Affairs and Spatial Development as part of the Future Building Innovation Program, and I am pleased to present the idea and results in this video. We are currently experiencing the consequences of global crises such as climate change, pandemic, and wars that a future-proof and sustainable development of our world, taking into account all human rights, require global cooperation, and that education is the most important key to this. In order to plan a future-proof and sustainable development of our world, representatives of 196 nations met at the United Nations headquarters in New York in September 2015 and drew up the Agenda 2030 with 17 goals from the 5 areas: people, earth, prosperity, peace, and global partnerships. The facade of the UN headquarters became the setting for the media staging of the agreed global sustainable development goals. One of the most important goals of this agenda is goal number 4, quality education for all. Education, especially fair and high quality education, and the right to lifelong learning for all people. Fair and high quality education is a global challenge with many facets, and we often encounter these challenges worldwide already on the way to school or at places of education in the most diverse conditions and with different questions in various forms almost everywhere globally. We are confronted with educational justice in the classroom at a very early age. Educational justice begins in the global social educational space and leads to inclusion, participation, empathy, and solidarity. To actively shape the sustainable development of our world, we need an appropriate educational concept. An educational concept that is based on, for example, communication, participation, networking, and inclusion, but also based on vision. As a basis, this educational concept requires knowledge in the sense of information, understanding, competencies, values, and attitude, and much more. Once again, I'll refer to our experience from current developments worldwide. We can imagine that we have a global cloud, and in this cloud, the exchange of information between environment and education takes place in the form of interactive change. This education cloud symbolizes the global transformation and coherence regarding the development of sustainable future. We can see that the interaction of environmental education and the educational environment is a dynamic process, and in this dynamic process, so-called creative spielraum or creative leeway arises for the transformation and shaping of our future. This creative spielraum is a hybrid space with diverse and variable functions and different perceptions, views, and ideas. Something exciting and new is created here by encounters and dialogue not completed and not finished. To describe the degree of hybridity of this creative spielraum, I use the VDAV model from process management, namely by means of the design of the 4 parameters: variety, diversity, ambiguity, and variability or dynamics to influence the degree of hybridity. In an architectural context, I also define hybridity as a kind of creative Spielraum, an innovative, open opportunity for design, expansion, development, but also for addition and superimposition. In other words, a hybrid space is also created here. Based on the previous principles, I can also describe school's hybrid system as an architecturally hybrid space and those as an integrator of structures, systems, processes, and actors in the education sector. The degree of hybridization can be designed with the VDAV model depending on, for example, how many and how diverse actors are involved, how big the differences are, etc. These models show that the inclusion and integration of various stakeholders in the school create an intensive network, something new and diverse. I would like to add here that the hybrid school is not a final product, but is constantly evolving a dynamic process. School's hybrid system creates an identity-forming architectural and social space within a community or urban districts at the interface between education, sustainability, and digitalization. In this way, a new and agile center is being created in the urban district and at the heart of society. School's hybrid system is also based on advanced methods of digitalization, which can be a key factor in promoting inclusion, for example. By integrating other stakeholders into the school spaces, such as a digital lounge, a makerspace, or a tech lab, could be used jointly. In addition to financial benefit, this creates platform for an interactive exchange between the various stakeholders group. Hybrid school does also contribute to promoting digital participation across generation. In other words, it invites experimentation with open, participative, and dynamic space. In this way, education suddenly turns into edu-action, and we as stakeholders are actively shaping this dynamic process. Planning and implementation of school's hybrid system takes place in three phases in which participation is a very important factor. Now, I would like to briefly illustrate this process. For hybridization, we focus at first on a location and site analysis. We distinguish between the three thematic clusters: school and architectural space, schools and pedagogy, and school and society. This diagram shows an example of the multifaceted needs and wishes of the various stakeholders and groups for a hybrid school, which are taken into account in the participative planning process. That is the basis for the creation of an initial usage catalog for this school. Now, it is important to evaluate and prioritize these functions and spatial concepts and to transfer them into a hybrid utilization concept that is accepted by all, and that includes at least the four functional areas of learning format, services and community activities, skills and competencies, and networking and cooperation. For example, offers for health promotion and leisure activities can be integrated into the school as can co-working spaces and an IT startup. As a result, the school becomes a place of skill and action and a network place of education and digital participation for all. Creative spiral or creative living with many facets and multifunctional and multi-optional use. For architectural hybridization of school, we take a holistic view of the functional, structural, and design potential. Hybridization can be implemented in micro or macro form, both vertically and horizontally. Using pictogram, I show here how a microhybridization takes place by adding or transplanting a room module into an existing school with a covered entrance space. This room module can be used by non-school actors, e.g. from the healthcare sector or as a co-working space. In this example, the combination and linking of a corridor school with a school with a covered entrance area through addition and duplication can result in macro hybridization. Now we have a new form, a hybrid atrium school. Atrium can be used as a communal area, break and exercises room, or as an open air classroom. Another option for architectural hybridization is to redesign an area in an existing school building in order to create a junction and turning area. It then takes on the function of a switching area that not only connects but can also work as a multifunctional space. This room module can also be used in an agile way by other stakeholders from the neighborhood, for example, as an exhibition space, library, or canteen. As we have seen, the possibilities for hybridization are diverse and varied and are often based on modularity and flexibility. Key factors are intelligent usage optimization, temporary densification, and structure transformation, which can also be implemented with the help of modern data technology. In this holistic process, all stakeholders must of course adhere to certain architectural, pedagogical, and legal requirements. This is particularly important to ensure the safety of school children as well as other stakeholders. It also goes without saying that the applicable legislation is fully complied with. Quickly summarized, we have seen how a school is transformed into a new creative realm, namely school as hybrid system in a participative process. Here something new and exciting develops in the encounter and dialogue between the stakeholders, and the learning space becomes hybrid living space that reinterprets learning, living and working under the same roof, imparts not only knowledge but above all skills, and implements the principle of lifelong learning and the sense of education for sustainable development, creates a cosmos, namely school as social and family education center, and in this way creates identity, reduces social division, and promotes integration. Now I would like to thank you for your attention and in case of any question or feedback. Thank you so much.